Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. This episode is recorded in the showroom at the legendary Wiley's Comedy Club with our dirty ray of sunshine, Charlie Hester, in as co-host, talking to the very funny Stuart Huff. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
Yeah, baked beans on the menu, but you get a little bitty one. You know, that kind of... Yeah.
All right, I started recording, so we have baked beans on the menu.
Hey,
Yeah.
baked beans on the menu.
It's time for the live radio show again. We have to start over because somebody set this damn thing up incorrectly.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. It was
The damn producer.
Yeah, Patrick.
We're blaming the poor kid, and he's not even here.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's why.
that's error number one that he made.
Yeah.
exactly.
He's not even
if
here.
If he was
My
here, that would
God,
not
what-
happen.
Poor kid.
Yeah. All right, it's time for the live radio show. I'm your host, Don Smith, and Patrick, we'll get with you later and discuss this. Actually laying down on the stage up here, curled in a blanket, Charlie Hester
Hello.
is my co-host for the evening. We are not in the WWSU studio. We are actually at Wiley's in the showroom.
Yep.
And we're just going to jump right in. We are in here with the Stuart Huff.
Woo!
I am. Yeah, I'm
The
the
Stuart
the
Huff.
Stuart.
That's
I don't think anybody else is.
if you type his name into my phone, like in my calendar, it will come up as Stuart effing Huff.
Nah,
Seriously, I have like that's
because I owe her money.
no.
That's why. I owe her money.
Stop it!
I love
Don't
her.
make fun of my snort.
I love your snort. I would never make fun of your snort. I love it. It makes me happy.
There is nothing better than a snorter in the audience.
I don't
here on
think
stage.
so.
That,
I
that
mean-
is great.
I made one woman pee one time. And that was, that's like highlight reel. You know what I mean? Like when it's all said and done and I'm thinking back, I hope that memory is
Right.
in my brain, except for all the millions of times I've screwed up and said the wrong thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you're on a roll and people are laughing and laughing, and one woman's she's cackling. She was rocking back and forth. I'm guessing it, middle-aged woman, khaki pants, nice top, that kind of situation.
Right.
And she's
a
rocking.
little too proper to be peeing in this.
Yeah, and I noticed her, like I'd really gotten to her, and she was rocking back and forth, so I just kept going and kind of hammering the bit, and then she stopped laughing and looked at me with big eyes.
Oh, poor thing.
Her eyes got so big. Yeah. And then she stood up and she had peed all over herself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, khaki pants, big wet spot. Yeah. It was absolutely wonderful. And
Yeah, that's one of those memories. If you get Alzheimer's, you hope you get to keep that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that one, Yeah, and it was just great. And then she ran to the bathroom, and I spent the next 20 minutes trying to convince her that seriously she made my life.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be embarrassed of this.
No, that's like
You know?
she like you want a picture with her. Like I want to remember you forever.
Yeah.
I just
the wet
arrived.
khakis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
I have
It
just
was-
made it as a comedian.
Yeah, that's the way I felt. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is fantastic. I dropped out of college for a reason. You know what I mean? I need to, if you could laminate the wet khaki-ness of this, and put it on the wall as a diploma. You know what I mean?
That should be doable. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's- wet
that and the
khaki-ness,
flip-flop that
that's-
guy threw at me, put those things. These are the comedy diplomas. The check that bounced from the funny bone.
These are important moments.
These are important moments in your comedy career.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Man, I never had anybody pee during my set, but I did have a man get up and do a headstand.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was up in Muncie, Indiana. He was
Well, that explains a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
He was real drunk.
And he managed to do a legit headstand?
Yeah, he did.
Whoa.
It was impressive.
Yeah, drunk?
Yeah, but then I'm like, but how, I can't where do I go?
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna. I'm wearing a skirt. I'm not doing a headstand. Like,
You're not,
Well,
you're
yeah,
not
you
gonna top him.
go
Yeah.
commando half the
Yeah.
time, anyways.
half. That's so
I
cute.
was, I was just.
I know. That's why I'm sitting on the pillow on the stage floor.
It's interesting how comedians seem to like, once they're over, they just hell gigs, like
Right.
someone did this, someone punched me on stage, whatever. It's like the worst and then the best. Like someone does a headstand or pees their pants or, you know what I mean? It's in between those two things. It's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the boring part.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
like
That was the
either
show.
of
Yeah,
them,
pretty good.
We're extremists, I guess.
Yeah, which I think, is not necessarily a bad thing,
Right.
Well,
and you're kind of famous for like embracing bad shows. You talk about them a lot in your sets.
I talk about them, and here's inside. Are we going to do inside baseball on this?
Sure. why
Inside baseball, I started telling stories about how bad, like how other quote unquote redneck audiences have reacted. Because in a way, you're kind of telling the crowd that you're in front of, you don't want to be this redneck.
So it's more of a cautionary tale.
Yes, it's
that makes them laugh.
Yeah. So then, 11 minutes later, when I'm talking about religion, they're a little less likely. You know what I mean? To punch me. It's a trick. Yeah. But they are fun for me. They're never fun for me when I'm doing them.
Right.
I mean, the show I did last night was the most violent show that I've done in probably 3 years. It
Really?
Yeah, it was. I in my mind, I looked. I had an exit plan. It was. I really didn't.
Wow.
I was 50-50 on whether I was going to get out of there without getting beat up. And
you had said you did a lot of bar shows and a lot of those kind of different.
yeah, I
type
do a
of
lot of
shows
bar
rather than-
shows, and I like them. I mean, like last night when I was doing the show, let me describe this place to you. It was called Slick's Bar. Okay? Slick's.
That's big red flag number 1. Continue on.
So
Oh,
I
that's
walked.
big Confederate flag.
And tiny. I mean, this is a walk-in closet of a bar. It's
Nice.
way, way too small for them to be having any kind of show in this place.
Okay.
The only chairs available are at the bar. So there's chairs for 8 or maybe 10 people. Everybody else is standing. Okay. And the place is packed. It's so packed. It's a shotgun bar, too. So it's very thin. It's a long room.
Right.
And you're standing against the wall. So you could reach out and touch the bar stool, okay, on the other side of the wall. You follow me?
Yeah.
So there's really, there's maybe 2 people can stand, and it's just jam-packed.
Wow.
The bathrooms are in the back of the bar. You couldn't walk from the front to the back. People were leaving the bar, going through the parking lot, and coming in the back door to pee, and then going out the back door and walking around. You know what I mean? It was not a good... And then I'm going to go up and do this kind of, challenging. Let's bring up some topics that might, and bring up some interesting questions.
And trapped right there in the middle between people peeing and people drinking.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm not even at the back of the bar. I'm in the middle. So there's 30 people behind me, all standing, not even sitting,
Right.
and there's 30 people in front of me. And the owner, who was drunk when I got there,
Oop.
he's sitting at the bar. He's 12 inches from me. And he won't stop heckling me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is this also the man that signed the check?
Well, he gave me cash actually, but yeah,
Good,
I didn't.
good.
I didn't really care. Seriously, by the end of the show, I was ready to go with or without pay.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just ready to leave. But when I got there, I was introduced to the owner, who was clearly drunk. He goes, "What do you want to drink?" And I said, "I never drink before the show."
Right.
And he looked at me like I had just done some advanced math for him or something. It took him a while and he goes, "You can have Jack, or we got it all. It's, Jim Beam, whatever you want." I said, "I never drink alcohol before the show."
Right.
And then he goes, "You can drink it now or later or whenever you want." It just drunk as hell.
Right.
And then he said this to me, and I mean, I knew I was in trouble when I pulled up to the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew this wasn't going to go well. But every single step of the way, it got worse and worse and worse. And so then the owner goes, we got a lot of idiots, so you can make fun of everybody. There's a black dude back there who's totally blind, so any of your black blind jokes, you can do all of them. And I was like, what?
Because you have so many of those cocked and loaded.
Well, yeah, everybody's got to keep some of them in their pocket.
I said, and then he starts telling me, he goes, that's Angie, she's a slut, you can make fun of her. And what? So I said, I don't make fun of people. And he just looked at me, he goes, you can drink if you want, we got some drinks over here.
Maybe if I get him drunk, he'll start making fun of the sluts.
Yeah. And so,
Wow.
so then he goes, we got everybody here. This is just neighborhood. We got everybody. We got, black people and white people. We got everybody. And he goes, we ain't got no gay people, And I went, but they're allowed, aren't they? Just kind of.
Right.
And he looked at me for a solid 5 seconds without. He goes, I guess.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm in serious trouble.
And then doing the show that you're about to do.
I'm about to do a big, I got a big chunk on the Second Amendment right now.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch. I'm talking right now. My show is about the founding of the country and the Bill of Rights, and
awesome.
That's what it's about. And and this isn't going to go well. It's just not. But now that he's done this thing where he said, I guess, with homosexuals, now I have to do the story about donating sperm to my sister and her wife,
right?
Because I can't not let that. You can't tell me that you guess homosexuals are allowed in this bar and have me not do a pro-gay bit.
Well, and he encouraged you to make fun of everybody.
Yeah. So
him.
Right. And he heckled me the entire time. He was, he's touchable. He's 12 inches from me.
Wow.
When he stood up to heckle, I had to back up a little. You know what I mean? But the violence really started coming in when I started doing some religious stuff, and there was a guy at the bar who was just he's making grunt noises. He was just and I was and I'm not slamming religion. I'm bringing up interesting,
right.
Just interesting points that are humorous, you know.
Right.
But and then the drunk guy, you can have a drink if you want. And it was just like, it was the weirdest, it was like the worst album I've ever heard. I really wish I had audio of the recording of that show without me.
Do a remix?
just the crowd.
Pull me out and just hear the crowd, That would be, it was.
You can drink if you want to. That'd be a good remix.
Sling Blade on crack. That's so great.
Yeah. And the only person that laughed consistently was the blind black guy. He was
beautiful.
awesome.
You're probably the only comic they ever had there that didn't spend the whole time making fun of him.
That's probably. And I did a whole section about how, African Americans have had to fight for their rights to be involved in the Constitution. And, so whatever. But I talked to him after the show. His dog's name is Blinker, which I thought was awesome. His dog's name is Blinker. I said, that is a fantastic name. That's just fantastic.
Beautiful.
So he was the only thing I really liked about that show.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but when I'm here's the weird thing, Don, and you tell me what this is about, because you are a student of psychology, right? You're
something like
you're,
that. Yeah.
You're deep into philosophical reasoning. Here we go.
Are we talking about the same Don?
Yes.
You don't know me, Charlie.
She thinks if she slept on someone's floor, she knows them. Okay.
Pretty close, but still.
Here's what's weird about me. Like, at one point, the guy that was grunting last night, right, when I started doing some Second Amendment stuff, okay, and and he turned around and made eye contact for the first time, and he goes, I'm about sick of it, boy. Okay? And I walked towards him, and I went, Are you? Because I got about 9 more minutes to go, So, but here's the thing about me. I don't want to fight anybody. I'm the biggest wuss in the world. I have no interest in, but for some reason, I have something inside of me like, you're going to try to stifle freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm going to come walking towards you, but it's not. It's almost like unconscious behavior on my part.
Right.
Because as soon as I get out of the situation, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I got to get out of here? I got to get out of here. Where's my car? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I got punched on stage in Macon, Georgia, right? The guy came up and punched me in the face, and I finished.
That's Macon. That's a requirement, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah. But I finished the show because screw him.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is I have inside of me that is like this. I'm a tiny little out of shape, I have no ego at all. I have no aggression, none of that stuff. But you're gonna try to stop me from trying to do art with your violence.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back at you. It makes me so mad.
Yeah.
But then when I get out of there, I pee myself. Yeah, the blind black guy outside. I met his dog, and this is after the show. We were laughing and everything, and I said, God, I didn't think I was going to make it out of there. And he goes, neither did I. And he said this, and he said this, and it took me half a beat to get it. He goes, but hey, I had your back. And I went, really? He goes, yeah. I wasn't exactly sure where you were, but I had your back, buddy.
Yeah. As soon as I find your back, I got it.
Right. He was awesome. I love that dude.
Wow.
At least there was something good out of it.
Yeah, and then it happened last night, so it's fresh, and I'm still kind of irritated. But a week from now, it'd be like, well, I'm glad I did that. That's funny, well worth $50.
Because bar shows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they offered you drinks, Stuart.
And you can drink them whenever you want to.
They got everything.
He was not happy because I didn't have one drink, and that's all, that
was his whole goal.
It bugged the crap out of him.
Well, that was a slap in his face.
I know, but it's costing him money. Why should he care? I don't. But that's the thing. I don't know. I don't want to keep talking on and on about it, but yeah, it was not a pleasant night at all.
And this was at Slicks.
This was the Slicks. Yeah, I do have a certain affinity for that kind of thing. I remember I pulled up at this bar in West Virginia, and this was one of those, those bars that are literally in a neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
neighborhood. They're literally a neighborhood bar, right? And so I pull up, and the house next door to this bar has a Confederate flag and an American flag. Both of them are flying, and that's always irritated me.
They're at war with each other.
They're at war with each other. How can you fly? So I'm in West Virginia. I walk up on stage, and the idiot that I am, instead of doing a nice, friendly "How you doing?" I say, "Who in the hell is the moron that lives next door?" That's how I started.
They own the bar, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the bar. That's the guy. It's the guy that owns the bar. Yeah. And I do it, and I eventually wrote a bit about it, but and Charlie knows the bit. But yeah, I go off on how stupid it is to have both of those things flying, and plus West Virginia. The only reason it exists is because it's split from Virginia, because Virginia, so West Virginia, I go off and on, and it's totally silent in there because, everybody's got Confederate flag hats on anyway,
right,
you know what I mean? And then, so I said, so whoever that moron is next door needs to read some history, and then I hear from the back of the room, that moron owns this bar. And at that exact moment, you're like, I'm going to go back to Dairy Queen. I miss, you know what I mean? But once it's over and done, right, the show's over and done, then it's kind of like, that's kind of neat. I kind of like that this is what I do with my life.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's the experience and the challenge of it. I know that I'm fairly new into comedy, but several years ago I had the choice between two shows on a Saturday night. One of them paid not much, but it would have been a good turnout and a really good show. The other one didn't pay, and it was at a wedding reception. I already knew. I was like, this is going to be a disaster. I'm going to do the wedding reception. It was a disaster.
Yeah. You must be a real comic then, my friend, because there's some pull. There's some kind of thing where we are attracted to disaster.
Yep.
Well,
why.
it gives us a good story later on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the only reason, but there's...
Yeah.
There was one place in Fort Wayne, and every single time I went there, I mean, I just bombed.
I've never done well in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, every show, I
Can't
was
wait
like,
to go
am I
back.
the freaking Susan Lucci? Like, what is happening? Because everybody else was fine, and then I just eat a dick, and I don't know why. And so, yeah, but I went back there like 4 times. Never cracked it.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to go back.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's it's like Don said, it's the challenge of it.
Yeah.
This is not going to go well.
Yeah.
Well,
You know.
we don't want to be beat by it, because there's one that there was an open mic they used to have in this area over in Fairborn at I don't know, it was at the Chapter Bar in Fairborn, Ohio,
Okay.
and it was a notorious comic killer. And this was the 3rd show I had ever done, because I did a set at Dayton Funny Bone, I did a set here at Wiley's. I thought, I'm funny. And and I went in there, and the only thing I heard over the crickets, because there was no laughter, the only thing I heard was some drunk little old lady at the bar just go, "My God, this is awful!" And I did that show 5 more times.
That's fantastic.
The only one I ever did well is because I spent about 2 minutes making fun of the comic that went up before me, and they loved that. And then
Sure.
then they were on my side.
Yeah. One of my favorite horrible shows, and I lived in L.A. for about 9 minutes, and there was a show in L.A. at a hostel. Just in case you don't know what a hostel is, it's a cheap way to stay. If you go to Germany, there are hostels. You go to Finland, you're going to visit Finland, and you're trying to backpack or something, and you don't have much money. You can stay at a hostel, right? So hostels are mainly people from other countries. So there was a hostel in Los Angeles, and they had a comedy show there, and they started every single show by saying, "Raise your hand if you speak English." And the most I ever saw was 4 people.
Yes.
The most. So you are performing comedy to a group of people that do not speak the English language. I mean, the only people that could possibly do well there are people that did visual gags.
Right.
And I did it all the time because it taught you that you had to figure out a way to connect with these people that don't speak the language. So before I started going up there, I was pretty much just stand at the microphone, deliver my little well thought out, clever little remarks. But after doing that for a year, it opened me up.
Yeah.
I had to move. I had to learn how to express my emotions with my hands and my body, and that would get them to laugh even though they didn't know what the joke was. Then I could express anger and and all that. It really, the challenge of, I didn't know that at the time. What I knew at the time was I can get up here and do my stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, after doing about 10 of those shows, you realize I'm moving around a lot now. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that's the real reason. The real reason I prefer bars is the freedom of it. But the second reason is, for the type of comedy I do, it's not supposed to go over in a bar.
Yeah.
And I have to figure out how to make it go over in a bar. So I have to, if you're going to write a bit about that you're for, gay marriage, for instance, and you're going to go to Chicago and do your pro-gay marriage bit, that they already agree with you.
Right.
But go to Slicks.
They
don't agree with you there. So if you're going to do the bit and make them laugh, you have to figure out why are you for it?
Right.
You have to ask yourself questions. You have to figure out your argument. Is your argument legit or not?
Right.
And can you present it comedically to try to actually, because if they're not going to laugh at you, they're not going to laugh at the jokes unless they agree with the jokes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you are putting yourself through, for the type of comedy I do, you're putting the material, you're putting your opinions through fire.
Yeah.
And then when you go to Chicago, then they're strong.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's going to become my new litmus test for my jokes. It's fine here, but will it work at Slicks?
Yeah.
But I think that's really important. I mean, I think that's the only way that comics can grow is if we really fail and fail in big and spectacular ways.
Yeah, you have to fail.
Yeah.
So
Is this a comedy podcast, by the way?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know. I should ask.
Yep. No, this is all about music, so we're just
Yeah.
gonna have to scrap
'Cause
all this and
I
stuff.
just started talking about technical stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't know if that was
Yeah. We have a lot of comedians listen. I hope we have a few comedians listen.
yeah. Like last week, I did Madison, Wisconsin, which went phenomenally well. I was very happy with the way the material went over. The show as a whole worked for the first time, and then the next show, it did. Some of the jokes worked, but there was a group of women that were celebrating their birthday. They were drunk. So it was hard to keep their attention for a 60-minute humorous lecture on the founding of the country.
Humorous lecture. That is perfect for the Bill of Rights. I love it.
And then Slicks was just a total disaster, right? So I learned the least about in Slicks because that is just, there's nothing to learn there.
Right.
No one's listening to me. There's nothing to learn there at all, right? Mm-hmm. But I learned more at the art gallery where the women were drunk than I did at Madison. Madison, the show went over really well, right? That felt great, and that's good. I needed that too. But the material that worked at the art gallery is strong, and then the material that didn't is not strong enough to break through 6 drunk women that are celebrating their birthday. Well, you know what I mean? So now I can listen to that tape and I can say, okay, I need to work harder on this bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Madison, they already agree with me. At least half of them already knew who I was. I have a little bit of a pull in Madison, a little bit one, and they were ready for that type of comedy.
Yeah.
If it failed there, then I might as well not do it ever again.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think constant failure is a great way to grow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Failure in flannel.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have to go ahead and hit the comedy rundown and take a quick break here. But,
no!
Yeah, we have to. It's the rules.
No, it's not. We don't have rules. We're not at this station,
It's not going to be a real break, Charlie. I'm just going to copy and paste some crap in there
it's
so we
going to
can
be a
play
real
it
break
later
because I
on.
need to pee.
Exactly. Then you're complaining, nope, now you have to hold it. So we're just going to, okay.
I was willing to. Never mind.
I just got back from peeing. What happened? How did the break go?
It went fine.
Did it?
Here's this week's Comedy Rundown brought to you by the legendary Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in Dayton's historic Oregon District. Call 224-JOKE or go to wileyscomedy.com for all the best in Dayton comedy. Tuesday, May 21st, open mic at Peach's Grill at 104 Xenia Avenue in Yellow Springs. That show starts at 8 p.m. Wednesday, May 22nd, open mic at Mila's Suburban Cafe at 606 Taywood Road in Englewood at 7 p.m. Also an open mic on Wednesday at the South Park Tavern at 1301 Wayne Avenue. That show starts at 9 p.m. Thursday, May 23rd, open mic at the Spirited Goat at 118 Dayton Street in Yellow Springs. That show starts at 7 p.m. There's also an open mic at the Barrel House at 417 East 3rd Street from 8:30 to 11 p.m. And the That's What I Like open mic at the Therapy Cafe at 452 East 3rd Street in Dayton. And also on Thursday, open mic at the Hookah Bazaar at 958 Patterson Road. That show starts at 10 p.m. Sign-ups are at 9:30 if you want some stage time. Friday, May 24th, comedy night at the Messiah Hookah Cafe at 8939 Kingsridge Drive in Dayton. That show starts at 9 p.m. And Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th, Stuart Huff is going to be in Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in the Oregon District. And Eddie Griffin is going to be at Dayton Funny Bone at 88 Plum Street at the Green. That is it. As always, check out wileyscomedy.com and DaytonFunnyBone.com for details and tickets to upcoming shows. And we have a new mic now on Mondays at 7 p.m. at the Barrel at 857 West Central in Springboro. Now stick around. We'll be right back with a little more Stuart Huff.
Ah, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this: never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
The gods must have come down and placed the crown of knowledge damage upon your head. Well, they left me without to deal with the situation on my own instead. Must be nice to be sure, come from a place so secure, when ignorance is the only case I can plead. But I was impressed with the scope and the breadth of the wisdom that you had for me. You said, I know it hurts, but you need to hear it. It could possibly make you the person I think you should be. You felt I didn't see reality. I felt reality was all that I saw. It was quite a relief to belie my belief that I knew reality at all. They say the world is made for lovers, but who are they and what do they know? They can't see the tears that I'm crying and the drinks that I'm buying to make your memory go. You said, I know it hurts, but you need to hear it. It could possibly make you the person I think you should be. If not for you, then for me. If not for you, then for me. You need to hear it. It could possibly make you the person I think you should be. I know it hurts, but you need to hear it. It could possibly make you the person I think you should be. If not for you, then for me. If not for you, then for me.
Hey, this is Don Smith with the Life Radio Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. I want to let you know that the World Series of Comedy is back at Wiley's Comedy Club this year. That's right, from May 28th through June 1st. 40 top comedians will compete for bragging rights, prizes, and the chance to go to the main event in St. Louis to compete against the top 100 comics in the country. This is a great chance to come out and support your favorite local comics and see some up-and-coming funny people doing what they do best. Tickets are available at wileyscomedy.com. See them all now while they still work cheap.
Hey man, this is Donnie Baker at Wiley's Comedy Club, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9. I swear to God.
Are you recording? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we do. We sit in the back of the room and we're like, oh, that was a good line. Just a little. He could have went gas.
See, Karen doesn't have a mic, so I can't keep recording this. I'm recording, but it's just not picking up anything.
But they feel her vibes.
Yeah, we. It's radio vibes. We can feel.
Yeah, they know. People listening know Karen is here.
Oh yeah,
they can feel it.
You know?
Yeah.
This we can tell. She's waving to the to the soundboard. Hey, welcome back to the Life Radio Show. I'm your host Don Smith, sitting in with the lovely Charlie Hester.
Hello.
And Stuart Huff is still here with us.
Yeah, I'm not lovely.
You're gorgeous. You're a very handsome man. Very handsome
I think you're a lovely human being.
A lovely human being. Yeah. I'm the outer shell is not the most beautiful thing, but once you crack it, it's pretty juicy.
Did you say juicy and moist?
Juicy and moist.
That's, which is how you want it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how I prefer it, but
right. Yeah. Without that hard crust.
If you can get through, the visual look of me, if you can put up with that, the lack of money, the lack of interest, the dull personality, the boredom,
the comic,
the comic in me. You can get past that, So I'm not a bad guy.
Then you stand a shot, right?
I'll fall asleep while you watch a movie. I'm all right. It's not bad at all.
I'll let you watch Netflix.
Yeah. I'm that kind of guy now. You know what I mean? I'm like, what you want to watch this thing? Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Call the midwife.
Perfect
Absolutely.
Relationship now.
Yeah.
There's no fight left in me.
That's what works. Yeah. Well, it's hard to fight when you're sleeping.
Yeah, well,
it's not impossible because I've been woken into a fight before that I didn't even know how I started.
You woke up and fists were flying.
Just about. Yeah.
Nice. So here's a road story. So I'm in West Virginia. It's ice all over the interstate, literally in hills. West Virginia's nothing but hills. And then every 7 miles you have to stop and give them 60 cents at a toll booth. Uh-huh. And I was like, why don't I just give you $5 and let me drive through this damn state? Why do I have to stop every, Anyway, I mean, I'm literally risking my life to get to this show. It's snow and ice. I'm sliding down hills. Oh. My car did go off the interstate a little and hit the guardrail at one point. Not hard. I wasn't going that fast, but it bumped up against it, and I got my and I finally make it to the show. I'm opening for a clown.
What?
I am an opening act for a clown.
This is beautiful.
Like, yes, but
wow, that's...
painted face, big clown costume with the big shoes, balloon animals, had like a blower with those paint roller things that you put a paint thing on and roll the wall with paint. He had one of those, but he'd put in toilet paper. He'd put a roll of toilet paper instead of a paintbrush, and duct taped it to a leaf blower, so he could like blow toilet paper all over the crowd. And I'm opening for this. Right? And I just risked my life to get here, and I'm opening for this. And then after the show, I'm sitting on a bench in front of the hotel thinking to myself, I literally could have died getting here. And I'm pretty happy with this show. I kind of like this. This is great. And I'm sitting in front of this crappy hotel. Snow is falling. I'm underneath the awning, but it's nice. I'm watching the snow fall and all this. And I see this guy pull up, businessman. He's got a suit on and everything, right? Clearly exhausted. Uh-huh. He gets out of his car. He's probably driven through this too. He's got a rental there, and he's getting his luggage out. Totally, his hair's all shoveled, and he's just, and he's walking in. And I don't know this guy, but I said, hey, is there anything on this planet that you love so much you would risk your life for? And without stopping, he walked straight with it. He didn't even stop. He goes, bacon. And just walked in. Yeah. Like, all right. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life.
Yeah. Those are the moments that you live for, though.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, yeah.
I don't even know if I want to hit news stories anymore.
I don't think we need to.
I don't know. We have so many road stories. And that was a literal road story.
Is that a theme we have with the podcast? We do news stories?
Not news so much, just weird stuff that's happened.
Weird stuff.
There's a lot of Florida
stories.
But
here's the thing.
Well,
Always. There's one in here about a Florida, somewhere in Florida, they're offering a mermaid class.
What?
So you can
Mermaid
learn how to be a
class.
mermaid. Yes.
Huh. Oh, class with
Yeah,
CL.
What
okay.
did you think?
No, never. This is
The
a
mermaid
family
with the clap.
podcast.
It's Florida, so he assumed it was a mermaid with the clap.
I thought there was a mermaid ass store. You know, I thought swing in.
I don't even know where it would be located. Like, that's just geographically
It
confusing.
depends on if it's an import or if it's that gas hole. Karen's here. That's a beautiful joke.
That
you
was with
guys.
the G, by the way. I don't have to edit that. Shut up, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at that. A Florida city is adding an unusual class to its lineup of summer activities, a mermaid swimming class for kids. Cassie Korchesny, a lifeguard and swim instructor of the city of Palm Coast, will be teaching a 4-week Saturday class with sessions in June and July for Palm Coast Parks and Recreation. I can't talk now. She said, I wanted to start the mermaid class to make dreams of little boys and girls come true all over Palm Coast. Putting on this tail and swimming gracefully through the water allows you to enter a world of fun imagination and drown when it gets waterlogged. Now, I added that.
You added that last part. Right?
Also selling the tails.
She should be, yeah.
Be leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, this is the head of a businesswoman.
I know.
Right
See,
here.
well,
I like
this
it. I
is
like
why
it.
you should have had a
Yeah.
mic, but you know.
Man.
You have a fantastic radio voice. Do you know
Well,
that? Don't
He
you?
I
does,
appreciate that.
doesn't
I
he?
appreciate
He
that.
does, yeah. This is a horrible idea. Mermaid class for kids.
Right?
This is, you know what I mean? The funeral is just going to be sad.
Right.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
I'm
just gonna,
assuming it would be a burial at sea.
I knew one of you wanted to go down this dark path with me. I knew it's hard enough to learn how to swim, and then you're gonna
Add a
turn
tail,
two
yes.
legs into
Yeah.
one with a tail.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is not a good idea.
And here's the thing: the kid's going to learn to swim like that, and they will spend their entire adult life swimming with this fake tail on, and that's
that's
Yeah,
that's no
that's-
good for
yeah,
anybody
yeah.
except for
The people that sell the tails.
right. The people that sell the tails, they'll
This
love it
is-
because
I
then
think
they
Karen,
can make different.
Karen
sizes.
is right about
Yes,
this. This is an
absolutely.
entire scheme to sell mermaid tails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
To adults, but they have to start them young. You know,
To adults.
it's like an addiction thing. You know.
Yeah, be
You
a
have to-
mermaid.
yeah.
You can actually take at the University of Tennessee. You can take a class on rodeo.
I believe that. I
Yes.
believe that. Yeah.
This is one of my first jokes I ever wrote. This is my first open mic joke
Ooh.
that worked.
Wait, Kmart open mic or real open mic?
Real open
Okay,
mic.
okay.
We can tell that story if
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
to.
that
but,
sounds
yeah.
like Kmart open mic.
I knew that they had rodeo, so I wrote. Let me see if I can remember. This is 26 years ago or something. You can take rodeo at the University of Tennessee. I don't even know how you would teach rodeo. You just open the textbook and it just says "Hold on."
yeah.
That was the first. Yeah. It was the first. I used to go up at Kmart. That's what Charlie's talking about. I used to do comedy at Kmart. I tried to do comedy at Walmart, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? I wasn't at that level.
Well, that's true. That's true. You have to
was
get
not-
there eventually.
Yeah, I
You
had
don't
to work,
start off with
work my
Walmart.
way up. Right. Yeah. But I used to do comedy at Walmart. I was sitting I used to live in my car. I'd sleep in my car, and I couldn't get up. The Punchline in Atlanta, the Punchline Club in Atlanta, back then, in 1972 when I started, it was hot. I mean, they would sell out every single show, Tuesday through Sunday. That room would be sold out.
Right.
And Tuesday was open mic night. They put up 4 comics in a regular show. So it'd be an MC, 4 open micers, feature act, headliner. That was their open mic night.
Right.
And so only 4 slots available. 60 people would sign up to go. And then it was also the Punchline. It was the best club at the time in the South. So anybody coming through
Right.
would, someone's coming in from San Francisco, well, they get a spot. So now you're down to 3.
Right.
Yeah.
So I signed up for, 3 months in a row, never got on. And I was getting irritated. I'm living in my car, And so I'm sitting, it's 2 a.m. or something, and I'm sleeping in a 24-hour parking lot of a Kmart. And then I had one of those brilliant ideas that pops in the human mind from time to time. Why do you have to do comedy in a comedy club? Why does the word comedy? People love jokes. Do people not enjoy comedy? Why can't I just be a comedian in the society, So I took my notebooks and went into Kmart, went into the electronics department, and stood there and did my act. You
Did
know?
you use one of their microphones, or did you
They
pick up the
didn't.
store
I didn't.
intercom?
I actually, to be honest with you, Don, I looked around for a mic because I thought it's an electronics department, got to have something
Right.
here, but
Right.
they didn't have one. So I stood on a boxed television, so it was kind of like a stage. They had a, so I stood there just telling my jokes. And the first night, I remember the first show at Kmart. And it was,
So this wasn't a one-time thing. And
No,
you picked
no,
up.
I
This is
was-
a repeated.
I invited
That is
myself
brilliant.
back many times. I was killing at Kmart. I had and whenever I wanted to be booked. I mean, that's how good I was. Whenever I wanted, I would allow myself to be booked back there. Yes, Karen.
Did you park yourself in front of Okay, yeah, this definitely deserves a microphone. Did you park yourself in front of Michael McDonald singing on the TV behind you, or what was on the TV behind you when you were doing this?
I don't remember that because Michael McDonald had already made it, so what do I care?
Well, you had to focus on your own material.
I'm
not
a
what's
new
going in.
talent, baby.
Well, I mean, if it was I could see
That's all the
a
backdrop.
fish
That
tank
doesn't matter.
in the
They
backdrop.
would
But I
change it,
Okay.
I would go in and someone had messed with my stage and I'd have to rearrange it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then I want to know
Yep, somebody bought that TV.
Yes,
if
rude
you had the
people.
perfect set, did you try to replicate? Okay, let's see, The Price is Right was on.
Oh,
but
yeah,
without
no,
the
no,
sound.
no,
Yeah,
And
did you do
you know what I
crowd
mean?
work?
I did some crowd work. I did some. Well, I always went in. I never had a show that was earlier than midnight. It was always late, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It was a 24-hour Kmart.
I love you so much.
But that first show that I did there, the security guard of Kmart wouldn't make eye contact with me, which I found interesting. He walked around, and he never came. My first show, no one was there. No one came in. Everybody that was shopping avoided the electronics department.
Now, did you advertise these, or just
No,
was it
it
just
was-
impromptu? It was just
No,
right
it was
out of
like
the-
when Chappelle drops
Drops in,
It
yeah.
was just,
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
this is
Kmart
just a
drop
drop
in.
in here, and I had a pen for autographs in case, whatever. And, I wasn't rude about the shit, and I didn't merch back then, but that would have been great because people are ready to spend their money at Kmart.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
would have
they've
been
got
fantastic.
cash.
Yeah.
And I would,
There are registers
I worked
there.
on
You
my
just have to-
projection.
Yeah.
I didn't just quietly tell I would,
Right.
hey, everybody, you ready for the show? And I'd start, please welcome Stuart Huff. Hey! And I'd launch into my rodeo joke and, whatever. But I remember one woman came in, very few people would come in. Because here's what I learned. When you do something in society that is abnormal, people avoid you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's usually kids or old people that are immediately interested. What's going on? The people that just got here, the young kids, and the people that are about to leave. They're the ones that are interested, right? Everybody else is whatever. That's weird.
Yeah.
But so I remember this woman specifically came there and goes, "What are you doing?" It's about 3 a.m, something like that, And I said, well, I want to be a comedian, and they won't put me up at the Punchline in Atlanta, the Punchline down the street. So I thought I would just do it here. And she goes, you're telling jokes in Kmart? I said, yeah. Everybody loves jokes. And she goes, okay, hit me. And I said, oh, an audience.
A live audience.
Yeah, I got a fresh fish on the hook, baby. So I immediately went to my closer, Yeah, I jumped ahead in the show and hit her with my closer, and I still can picture her face. Her hands were still on the cart that she was, with a bunch of crap in her cart. She stared at me with a blank look. She didn't even smile, much less laugh. And I did the whole joke, and she goes, "It's no wonder you're at Kmart." And then she went on. Yeah. But eventually, it took 7 or 8 shows for the security guard to come over, which was fascinating. But he eventually came over, and he goes, what are you doing? I've seen you here before. And I go, yeah, I recognize you. How you been?
You play this club all the time.
I'm here a lot. I know the waitstaff's
every
name, Yeah, I got my drink tickets. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, get that icy from the concession stand.
So I told him the same
Slick
thing.
said
I
you
said,
can
I
drink
want to
them
be a
anytime you
comedian,
want.
and no one's putting me on stage. So I just thought I would do it here. And, and he goes, okay, well, just don't bother anybody. And I said, well, that's pretty much what I'm shooting for. Right now that's that's the height of my talent is I'm not going to bother anybody. You know what I mean? And then he was cool with it. He literally was cool. And it got to the point, Don, where I would walk in, and depending on who was the cashier, they would go, hey, Stuart, hey, how's it going? And I'd walk back there and please welcome Stuart Huff, and I'd do the show.
So now, have you ever considered, now that you are like 27 years past that, have you ever
I don't know. The word past, I don't know.
Have you ever considered like going back into a Kmart one night?
Here's an interesting
Can't
story.
find any though. That's the problem.
I saw one last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's an interesting story. Wonderful professor wanted to make a movie, like a documentary movie that is, you can see it on YouTube, I think, called Road Comics.
Okay.
It's right.
Yeah.
So, and she knew this story about me doing comedy at Kmart. So she wanted to, this is like maybe, I'd been doing comedy maybe 10 or 12 years.
Okay.
Something like that. So she said, would you do it again? And I said, yes, absolutely. I'll do it again. It was, it's great. So we first went to, because that Kmart is out of business in Atlanta. She came to Atlanta to do it. So that Kmart's out of business, right? So then we were like, okay, well, there's a Walmart right over here. So then we go down to Walmart. I mean, we get out of the car. It's me. It's her. We have two cameramen, okay, and a producer. And so, and they've got professional Hollywood. They've got big cameras. These aren't hidden cam things, right? They see us walking through. They stopped us before we even got to the door. Right. What are you doing? Well, and we told him the truth. We're going to make a documentary. He's a comedian. He wants to do a show in Walmart. We're going to film. No. Shut the cameras off. We can't have blah, blah. Okay. So then we go and we're looking at other places. We tried to go to Sears, which there was still one there. They stopped us. We walked through the front door and they go, no cameras in here. No cameras. What? So we actually found a Kmart. They wouldn't let us in either. They stopped us in, So then we got on the phone and we called Big Lots.
Yeah.
And they said, what? You're going to do Yes, come on down.
Hell yeah.
And I did, I don't know, 60 minutes at Big Lots that day.
Well, but
they loved it.
Jerry Van Dyke was their sponsor or their celebrity spokesperson
right?
for years. Yeah.
That's perfect, too. Jerry with the Big Lot. That's a good team,
Yep.
Yeah, they were all about it. And the employees of Big Lots actually came to see the show,
Wow.
and there were people walking. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I might have a new place for open mics.
There you go.
I don't know if that made it into the documentary because I haven't seen it, but we filmed it, so
yeah. All right,
and it's pretty much been downhill.
That's determination right there. That's what that is. That's impressive. That's an impressive amount of determination.
I think that's the key, really.
Yeah.
When whatever town you go to, there's always 20 comics, and it's not the funniest one that's going to make a living at it. That's not. It's the one that has to have it.
Yeah.
That's who is eventually going to figure it out, Yeah, it's, and that might end up being the funniest one, but the funny is not the judge on who's going to make a living at it. Who has to have it and is willing to do whatever it takes to get there. That's the key. I didn't know that at the time. I was just mad because I couldn't go up, and
so you found a way.
I found a way.
Yeah.
We're going to have to try to get started with a Walmart open mic nearby. I mean, because I think as long as you don't bring cameras, you'll be fine.
I think the cameras is what stopped us.
Right.
Maybe.
That's the reason. Walmart, I mean, I'm sure they're so
because it's
used
not
to-
like you went into Kmart the first time and even asked permission. You just jumped up on a TV box.
Oh, yeah. I just
started
walked
going.
in and stood up and started telling my jokes, Yeah. I loved it. And I really, looking back on it, I mean, I was living in my car. I had zero money. It was not a good time in my life. You know what I mean? But I really look forward to those Kmart shows. I really did.
It is like sweet and hilarious and so depressing.
Yeah, I know. I know. Even the night, I remember the first night I got up at the Punchline, and I did my set, and it went okay, not great, but it wasn't horrible. But I remember that night thinking, I'm going to try this again at Kmart.
Can't wait to see how this one does at Kmart.
That joke didn't work tonight at the Punchline, but it will later on
Hey,
at Kmart. That might have been the best thing about performing at Kmart. There was literally no audience, and the audience you had would stare at you from a far distance.
Right.
So, you could trick yourself into thinking, well, they're loving this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Look at that woman over there. She keeps staring at me awkwardly. She's digging this. Loving it.
All right. As much as I hate to do this, we're going to have to wrap up because it's getting close to time where we got to open this thing up to actual people that are going to come in, and instead of just
actual humans
that are going to come in and watch us try to make money off of open micers. So it's we're going to have to stop the funny stuff here for the rest of the night. No, I'm kidding. We're going to love it. Be sure to get to Wiley's this weekend, the 24th and 25th, to see Stuart Huff. Stuart, do you have any social media you want to throw out there? Anywhere you want to be followed? Or
Here's my social media. I love Wiley's.
All right.
That is
I love this club. Here's the thing. If you, this is what I want to say. This club is where weird stuff happens, and to me, that's what makes comedy exciting. This is not, this is, how do I say it without being mean? This isn't corporate comedy. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Yeah.
It's not corporate comedy. This is where I've seen such beautiful stuff. The only thing I'm upset about is someone tried to come up on stage when I was here one night, and they kicked a hole in the wall. And for years it stayed there, and then the new owners actually plastered over and made it look nicer. But I'm upset that they plastered over the hole where that guy kicked it.
Well, you're headlining this weekend. Bring good shoes. Kick a hole in the wall.
Kick a hole in the wall. I'm going to be doing some Second Amendment stuff. Leave your gun. Bring your boots.
But then you could rename it Hole in the Wall Comedy Club.
Yeah. There's.
Oh, never mind.
Don't go there. Go to Wiley's.
Yeah, go to Wiley's.
Wiley's.
That's my social media. It's going to be an awesome show this weekend.
Absolutely.
We're going to have fun.
Except Stuart does have an amazing podcast.
Really?
Yes, he does.
Well, what is the podcast?
I love you.
You can drink
I
whenever
love you too,
want.
Charlie. I'm a bad businessman. You know what I mean? Besides the deal, I work for myself at Kmart. But every other deal I've ever made has been horrible. I have a podcast. It's called Stuart Huff's Obsessive Curiosities.
Yes, that is the name.
Yes, Stuart Huff's Obsessive Curiosities. And it's I like the podcast, or else I wouldn't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I had a 2-hour argument with a guy the other day in Kansas who's got a 2-headed calf I've been trying to buy for years. And that jerk won't. You know what I mean?
Right.
I need it. He doesn't.
Right.
I don't understand why he doesn't understand this. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but it's about me buying junk on the road, and we talk about this weird crap that I buy, coffins or 2-headed calves or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's what it's about. It's about my junk collection.
That sounds like a lot of Well, I appreciate you coming all the way down from Wisconsin and your wonderful weekend at Slicks. and helping us out on the podcast to promote the show this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you in here.
Thank you. I'm always happy to be here.
We look forward to the next couple of weeks when you're back again.
Yeah. It'll be soon. It'll be here
Charlie's
soon.
wonderful. I love her.
All right.
And when you see Charlie's name on a poster, buy a ticket.
Absolutely. You will have fun.
That's the most businessy I've been in years.
And it's not even for your gosh dang self.
Somebody else.
Hey, I'm done. I'm over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his Kmart days are finished.
You know when you're watching someone surf on the beach and you're sitting there on your beach towel and there's someone trying to surf and they don't really know what they're doing and it's kind of awkward, but they didn't completely wipe out, but then the wave kind of dies off and you're kind of like, well, that wasn't very good. Like, that's my career. You know what I mean? And I'm at the point right now where I'm drifting into the, you know what I mean? I'm going to have to go find the board and get something to eat, and then I'm done.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on. As much as I hate to do it, we're going to have to get out of here. Stick around. We'll be back here shortly with Scotty Mays and T-Bone.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Life Radio Show podcast. Check us out on Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, with repeats on Wednesdays from 10 to noon and Thursdays from noon to 2. You can also stream the show live at WWSU1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments for the show, feel free to email thelife1069@gmail.com.
Presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence.
I just got back from peeing. What happened?